إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد أما بعد فقد قال الله عز وجل في كتابه واعلموا أنما أموالكم وأولادكم فتنة وأن الله عنده أجر عظيم وقال الله عز وجل إنما أموالكم وأولادكم فتنة والله عنده أجر عظيم وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ألا كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته فالأمير الذي على الناس راع وهو مسؤول عن رعيته والرجل راع على أهل بيته إلى آخر الحديث وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما من مولود إلا يولد على الفطرة فأبواه يهودانه أو ينصرانه أو يمجسانه. أما بعد, my dear respected brothers, sisters, scholars, elders, ulama, hafaza, imam sahib, bifadlillahi azza wa jal, by the grace and mercy of Allah azza wa jal, we've united here once again in this masjid with no other intention than to worship Allah, for which we are endlessly and continuously grateful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The topic of our discussion today is very, very important, and so focus inshallah. And also, if the topic isn't finished today, we'll carry on next khutbah as well. It's extremely important, and before delivering this khutbah, I have looked into the topic, I've researched it, I've understood it properly before just jumping on and saying or speaking about it. And so whatever is going to be said, inshallah, will be within the legal boundaries of the laws and regulations of this country. And it's also to protect our iman and the faith that we all hold, and the aqidah and the iman and the natural purity or the cleanliness or of thought and character that our children are naturally born into, how to maintain that haya and that fitrah for as long as possible according to the guidelines of the sharia that Allah Azza wa Jal has sent down to us. The topic is the changes in the RSC from September 2020, which is just around the corner. From September 2020, which is this September coming, there are going to be some significant changes in the curriculum that will be taught in every school. Not just in state schools, in private schools, in Islamic schools, in Christian schools, in boarding schools, in faith schools, in every school, in primary schools, in secondary schools as well. These changes in the guidelines or in the syllabus are going to be effective from September 2020. Of course, this discussion of RSC changes has been happening for many, many years now. And there's been discussions and debates in the parliament and arguments and counter-arguments from the public and faith communities and etc. But eventually and ultimately what's happened is now that the law has been passed, which has been now sent out to the people by the Department for Education, to encourage them and to show to them what should be taught with regards to RSC. RSC stands for relationship, and there's also health in there, health, sex, and sex education. Relationship, health, and sex education, which is a topic that's quite comprehensive, covers a few subjects within it. But this is our topic today. Now, when we say this word, you think the problem is in the S acronym. The sex education is the biggest problem. And people think, well, I can withdraw my children and that's it, let's just go back to sleep again. But there's something a bit more to understand here. Yes, sex education is a part of it, and you have the right to withdraw up until year 10, not beyond that. But with the relationship part of it, there's also some things which we need to be, which affects our faith. And so for that reason, let's be comprehensive and understand that the relationship and sex education curriculum, which is going to be rolled out from September 2020, is not all bad. There's a lot of good in it, in fact. A lot of the aspects that will be covered is Islamic. Islam teaches the same thing. There are aspects of that curriculum which talks about online safety, which talks about protecting kids from abuse, physical, verbal, psychological abuse, and how they can report such abuses and etc. how to behave online, how to interact with people in society. There's a lot of good aspects to the RSC changes that's happening. Of course, the last time there was a change like this was quite a long time ago, and this was before the whole change of the internet world and social media and Instagram and Snapchat. So now it's a different world. And schools they have a responsibility of teaching children how to live in society, how to keep themselves safe. And so a lot of it's good. It speaks about online safety, relationships, caring relationships, what constitutes a friendship, and so on and so forth. What's a good type of friendship, and so on. It also speaks about safeguarding, like we've mentioned now. There are, however, some issues of it which affect our core values as people of faith, not just Islam. People of all faiths, whether it be Judaism or Christianity or Islam, we have an understanding of what family is. We have an understanding of what haya is, what this natural shyness is, what sensitivity towards a particular type of language or imagery is, haya, what it is. We have this commonality across faiths. And so the issues that concern us are some of this RSC changes. Our discussion will include what it is, how we can demand for changes in them, and how we, inshallah, as a community will go about making those demands to, inshallah, eventually have our say in how this RSC is delivered. Because it's not just about making shouting noises and protesting, because this then feeds into the media narrative that Muslims are crazy and they don't like anything, they shouldn't be here, all of this stuff. We want to do it legally, in a proper way, and mashallah, there's initiatives in our community where we are trying to sort of organize our community to take action legally in a way that protects our rights, because the same rights which allows for these changes, the same right which allows for these changes to happen are the same rights which protect people of faiths to teach and propagate their faith also to their children. Meaning RSC in its delivery has to be faith and age sensitive. Okay, let's get into it, inshallah. As for the key areas that concern us, and I will speak mainly about primary school. That doesn't mean that it's not going to affect secondary school. We'll, inshallah, perhaps speak about secondary school later on. But initially, primary school. These changes, okay, that mainly concern us are namely three areas. The first area is something called naming of the body parts. Naming of the body parts includes children understanding what different parts of their body are called, including their private parts. And there's a list of some 7 to 8 or up to 10 words which are in the statutory section, mandatory. They must be, every child must understand what this word is, what it means, and what it refers to. This must be taught to children by the end of primary school. By the end of primary school, every single child in primary school must know what these words are, what they mean, what they refer to. And the way in which it will be taught is by showing an image of this part of their body. As I've said before, it includes private parts of the body too. The logic and reasoning behind it, the reason why that's being sort of introduced or that's being demanded is because there's an issue of safeguarding. And it's a valid argument. It's a valid argument to a certain extent, as long as it's done in the correct and delivered in the correct way. The argument states that kids and children, when they go to report abuse, that somebody's touched them in an inappropriate way, or mentioned a part of their body in an inappropriate way, they don't have the vocabulary to use. And so a lot of the time, what they're saying is lost in translation. That's the actual argument. So kid is trying to say that, someone touched me on my private part and names the part. But because they don't have the name for it, they can't report it. That's the argument. Fine, we accept this. Kids should be protected. They are the most precious aspects of our lives, all of our lives. And we love our kids and want them to be safe and secure and protected and educated and know the right kind of things and to be safe in society, and etc. However, when this argument comes forward, we need to analyze it. Okay, so the argument states that by the end of primary school, the law states by the end of primary school, kids must know the names of these parts for the sake of safeguarding. If we were to just say, okay, that's fine, labbaik, that's fine. Let's just go and do it from year one. Teach kids pictures, names. There are some side effects and issues that affect us from a faith perspective. What's that? That's the sensitivity or the natural haya that you see, that you shouldn't be exposed. Kids shouldn't have to be exposed to nude images of private parts from such a young age. That's a valid point. Kids from the age of 5, 6 shouldn't have to be exposed to nude images of private parts for the sake of safeguarding. There should be, and we should introduce other ways of doing that. Safeguarding is a must, yes, we agree. But this is the only way? I'm not sure. Or no, this is not the only way. There are other ways. There should be better monitoring of families and students and cases in schools. There should be better ways of communication for kids to be able to report abuse in cases of abuse. Not necessarily changing this and saying that from year one. Okay, I did mention to you before that the law says before the end of primary school, right? Before the end of primary school, these names and pictures or these parts should be named and known. And so therefore, this is the issue. What's our demand? What's our legal demand as people of faith, both of Islamic faith or Judaism or Christianity, whatever faith we come from? Our demand is that because law allows it until the age of, or until the year of year 6, we demand that you cover this topic, or schools cover this topic in the later years of year 5 and 6, as opposed to year 1 and 2, because year 1 and 2, children are very innocent. They shouldn't have to be exposed to this kind of imagery and names at that age. In fact, there is a very beautiful there is a good syllabus introduced by the NSPCC, which is called the pants syllabus, something like that name, which teaches kids that whatever's inside their pants is their own private region, and nobody should be able to touch that or speak about that unless it's their parents and those who care for them. That's within the haya remit, and also delivers the safety aspect of it, the safety that we're trying to achieve, the safeguarding. So our demand is, if you want to name the parts, right, delay it to year 5 and 6, number 1, so that the haya aspect is maintained for as long as possible. Number 2 is that when you use images, it should be cartoon images and not real images. Cartoon images and not real images. Number 3 is that these students should be taught in their own groups, gender groups. So boys with boys and girls with girls in one group and boys in another group should be taught about this topic. This is our demand with this particular aspect. Naming of the body parts, here's the issue, here's what's going to happen. I've explained to you the logic behind it, the reason behind it. What's our demand? Is it legal to make those demands? Yes, it is, and these are our demands. It should be delayed to year 5 or 6, as late as possible. Okay, it should be used with cartoon images and in own gender groups. That's this section here. I say demands as if, we're going to do something. We are supposed to. We have a right to. In fact, every parent must engage with their school to find out how each school and how each head teacher plans to deliver the RSC. Because with the change in the curriculum, there is the aspect of consultation. So before September 2020, schools are supposed to reach out to, and councils are supposed to reach out to their communities and say, these are the changes, what do you suggest, and etc. Because, like I said to you, the same law that allows these changes to happen are the same laws which protect our faith values. It states that people who have a particular faith or a philosophical conviction, okay, they are allowed to maintain these, and the delivery of RSC should not undermine or contradict with those. And so our first piece of work for all of us, and like I said, we may take more than one khutbah for this, there's no harm in that, inshallah, it's a very important topic, is that we should all find out what the RSC changes are. Unfortunately, most of us don't even know. This is your children, this is their future, this is their mindset, this is what's going to be educated or taught to them. You should care about this. Unfortunately, we're just thinking, I'm going to go to work, pick them up, drop them to maktab, and at the end of it, it's going to be fine. He's going to become a practicing person and my job is done. You should be actively involved in your kids' education. You should know what's being taught in school. It's not an excuse to say, I didn't know. You're not supposed to not know as parents. Not knowing as parents is a crime. Do your knowing first, then have kids, then plan for kids. Educate yourself as you go. What are the safeties and harms out there? You should know what's being taught to them. What is my religious responsibility for what's taught to my kids is a huge aspect. We need to care about this. Do some research. In fact, on the government website, there's a whole list of the DFE guidelines. There's also videos out there. There's also a new website that's been set up by TAM, that's Parental Parents Forum, I think it's called. You can also go on there and sort of join with their social media to find out what are the things you can partake in. This is a very important topic. I've said the first section. Our homework, all of us, everyone's homework is go home, speak to your teachers. When you go to school, arrange an appointment with your head teacher, with the parent governors of the school. Every school has parent governors, those who represent the parents of that school. Speak to them and say, well, this is my concern. I'm Muslim, as you know, and I'm a person of faith, and this is my concern. What are the guidelines that you're following? What's Tower Hamlet said to you? How are you going to deliver it? I need to know. This is your right, and you should be involved. So all of our homework is 2 pieces. Number 1, find out about these changes. Until next khutbah, inshallah. Find out what these changes are. Do some research. Number 2, speak to your schools, parent governors and head teachers and teachers. Find out what their method of delivering the RSC will be. And until next Jum'ah, inshallah, you can do that. And the next Jum'ah will carry on with the next section and carry on like that with Allah Azza wa Jal. May Allah give us the ability to understand and to work productively and effectively. وأقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. الحمد لله حمد الشاكرين ونصلي ونسلم على النبي الكريم محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. The main area that I've mentioned today is called naming of the body parts. I've explained to you the logic behind it, the problem with it, our demands for it, and how we aim to achieve those demands. There's the next section, which is called the structures of families, different types of families. And in that section, there are some issues that we face when it comes to faith communities. And then there is a third section called the LGBT content, which is also challenging to us, people of faith, in many regards. And so what's the argument there, what the issue is, and what our demands are, and how we aim to achieve those demands. Inshallah, we'll discuss, inshallah, slowly with Allah Azza wa Jal. This khutbah, of course, will be uploaded on our YouTube. You can share with your friends and family, especially sisters and mothers that are home. Please watch it, understand it, and do the homework and the research that we've mentioned before. Allahumma اغفر المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات. اللهم تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث أصلح لنا شؤوننا كلها ولا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين. اللهم أذهب البأس رب الناس اشف أنت الشافي لا شفاء إلا شفاؤك شفاء لا يغادر سقما. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في جميع البلاد يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر إخواننا في فلسطين وفي اليمن وفي الشام وفي كشمير وفي جميع البلاد يا رب العالمين. وصل اللهم وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وأقم الصلاة. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.